In life, each of us encounters attachments. We get attached to things, people, ideas. Sometimes these attachments become our burdens that prevent us from moving forward. I will tell you a story that will help you understand how to free yourself from attachments and find true freedom. After all, true strength is not in holding on to something, but in the ability to let go. When we free our heart, we discover new horizons and find the strength to truly live. Let me guide you along this path. When we grow up, attachments come naturally to us. We become attached to toys as children, to friends as we grow older, and to ideas as our view of the world is formed. These attachments seem important. They create a sense of security in us, but as soon as something or someone starts to change, we feel pain and fear. We forget that everything in the world is temporary, and this temporariness is a natural part of life. A wise monk was once visited by a disciple who complained about his suffering. He told how he had lost his favorite thing, and now he could not find peace. The monk, after listening to him, asked, "Why do you suffer so much?" The disciple replied, "I have lost what I loved." Then the monk said, "It is not what you have lost that brings you pain. The pain comes from the fact that you cannot let go of your attachment to it." The disciple thought for a moment. He realized that he was suffering not because of the loss, but because of his inability to accept it. Attachments not only bind us to things, but they also give us a false sense of control. We think we can control events or people around us, but this is only an illusion. A monk often said, "The more we try to control, the less we actually hold in our hands." The world changes, people change, and we keep clinging to the old because we are afraid of uncertainty. But all life is full of change, and our strength is not in control, but in the ability to adapt. The disciple came to the monk again, telling him that his friends no longer support him as they used to. "What should I do to regain their trust?" he asked. The monk smiled and replied, "You can't get back what is gone, but you can learn to appreciate what you have now. Let go of your need to control them, and see that life will show you new people and new opportunities." The disciple realized that by holding on to the past, he was closing himself off to the future. Fear of loss is what makes us addicted. We fear losing what we have, whether it's a job, a relationship, or material things. This fear makes us cling harder even when we know it may not be the best thing for us. A monk once said, "The more we fear loss, the more we suffer." Liberation comes when we stop being afraid. The monk told his disciple a story about a farmer who spent his whole life cherishing his field, afraid that one day he would lose his crops. Every day he worked without rest, hardly sleeping, thinking only of his field. But one day, a great storm came and all his labors were washed away. The farmer wept with grief. The monk came to him and said, "You are not crying because of the storm, but because of your attachment to the field. It is gone, but life goes on. You make your own freedom or your own chains. Which will you choose?" The farmer thought about it and realized the fear of loss kept him from living. True freedom comes when we learn to let go. A monk taught that one must not just give up something external, but change one's inner attitude. A disciple once asked, "But how do I let go of what I love so much?" The monk replied, "Letting go doesn't mean to stop loving. It means to stop depending. Love and attachment are different things. True love is freedom." The student began to realize that loving something doesn't have to turn into dependence. He began to learn that it is possible to value something or someone without being afraid of losing it. After all, everything is temporary, and instead of being afraid of it, we should accept with gratitude what life gives us and learn to let go when the time comes. When a student began practicing the art of letting go, he felt his life change. His heart became lighter and he was no longer afraid of what might happen. He realized that freedom was not about having nothing, but about holding nothing back. That was liberation. The monk asked the disciple, "How do you feel now that you have let go of your fears?" The disciple smiled, "I feel lightness. My life goes on, and I am no longer bound by the chains of attachments." The monk said, "Now you are free. Remember that true freedom comes not from what we hold on to, but from what we let go of. Life flows like a river. Be willing to swim with it, not against the current." Letting go is an important step towards inner freedom. Life is full of change, and we can't control everything that happens. But we can control our attitude toward that change. When we learn to let go, we find true freedom and open ourselves to new